This bell will ring again. These seats will be full. Our children will play together, and we'll have dinner with friends. We'll hear the laughter and feel the energy of a Friday night. We'll be back stronger than ever. And ABC Action News is here to help with the Rebound Tampa Bay. Everything you need to get back on track during these difficult times. From financial recovery to putting food on your table and more. All in one convenient place. Visit abcactionnews.com/rebound to get started.
Keep fighting on, Tampa Bay. That's what we got to do, right? Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Legrone. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of our Facebook Live program, Your Medical Questions Answered. We're talking about the COVID-19 vaccine, of course, and we encourage you to start asking your questions right now. I'd like to bring in our doctors, our experts, Dr. Doug Ross, Chief Medical Officer of Advent Health Tampa, and Dr. Jason Wilson from TGA, Tampa General Hospital, of course. And I'll start us off, gentlemen, with a couple of questions. But if you're watching us right now on Facebook Live, feel free to start adding your questions, because that's really the purpose of this, is to get your questions answered. If we could point you in a direction, we'd love, since these are medical experts, to ask questions in the medical field. Operational questions about how the distribution is going might be a little tougher to answer, but we'll do our level best. All right, with that, let's start off with this. Just on a big picture perspective, and I'm just buying us some time here until our viewers start asking away, but how do you get people to trust the vaccine? Trust is our best answer at beating this virus. Where do you hope that lies right now? At a time when even science seems like a leap of faith, trust perhaps is earned one shot at a time, one patient at a time. How do you get people to trust that this is our best shot, pardon the pun, at beating this thing?
I don't know who you want to start, but I would say we have on our side with Advent Health, we have actually done a lot of work towards educating our team members, our healthcare workers, on the benefits of the vaccine. We've provided them with literature, scientific data around the success, the risks, et cetera, as have been put through in the EUA. We also had a clinical advisory committee of a national basis actually witness all the FDA approval process, and then actually come up with our own conclusions around the benefits and recommendations to the company about getting vaccinated. But I agree with you. What we're seeing now is, yes, we had a fairly decent response from our healthcare workers to actually get immunized, but there have been people who have been apprehensive, and that's starting to fray. I would be honest with you. I'm encouraged by that. They're seeing that their fellow team members have been getting vaccinated, the side effects minimal, and then with the potential upside of being safe from the COVID vaccine, from COVID. So we're moving in the right direction.
We are. And Dr. Jason Wilson, I'll throw this question to you. Teresa Wallace asking, is it safe to take? I mean, that really is what everyone wants to know.
Sure. And, we've watched this vaccine get developed in record time. And so I know that very quick development has led people to be a little suspicious as to what kind of science actually took place. But what I want to make sure everybody understands is that even though this took place so quickly, that was because the whole world was paying attention. That's because the resources of all scientists really turned their attention to creating this vaccine. And now we're in a place where we still have 2 published studies in the New England Journal of Medicine, the hallmark, journal of medicine. We've got a study from Pfizer and a study from Moderna. And if you take those 2 studies together, that's about 35,000 people that got one of those 2 vaccines. And they did really well in those studies. No one got sick from COVID, really, who got the vaccine. And there really weren't very many serious events. And now we've got millions of people who've gotten the vaccine across the world. And so far, there have only been about 25 or so allergic reactions that have been managed pretty easily.
We're getting some really good specific questions. This is good stuff, guys. Thank you for participating here as you're asking your questions. Bonnie Whidden, I'd like to highlight her question here. Is it safe to take the vaccine when a person is on immune suppressant medications? She specifically mentions Wegener's disease.
Sure, and I can start and then turn over to Doug and see if he has some in sight too. But the only contraindication right now for this vaccine is they've had a prior severe allergic reaction to a vaccine. So what we know is that people with immunosuppression or people who have problems with their immune system, they're more vulnerable to COVID. And so we worry about those populations. Now, we don't have a lot of data about how good their response will be to the vaccine, but we're not really worried about the vaccine hurting those people either.
It's a good idea to contact your own physician and consult with your specialist too, just to run it by them. But I totally agree with what you're saying about that. So, yep.
Let's go next to Jennifer. She asked if they released all the vaccine in Florida reserved for the second booster shot. How will the people recently vaccinated with the first shot get their second shot on time?
So, both the state and federal officials are making sure that there's adequate production of these vaccines, and they feel comfortable. And I'm at my level. I don't have line of sight exactly to production levels, but that's being taken into account as they release that what they were holding in reserve, that the production levels will be sufficient so that everyone will get that booster shot that needs to get the booster shot. So I'm pretty comfortable in that.
Just medically speaking, and Dr. Wilson, you can take this if you want to, how vital is that second dose if you're taking the Pfizer vaccine or the Moderna vaccine? I've had people ask me this, even in my own family, someone had a mild reaction to the first vaccine and now they're a little timid about taking the second booster shot. Would that be a mistake?
Sure. So a couple of things about the second dose. Both the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines were studied with 2 doses. And that means that we need to go ahead and get 2 doses into everybody's going to get this vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine is about 3 weeks apart. And you've got a little give or take on either end there by a few days. And the Moderna vaccine is 28 days apart. And again, I'll get a little give or take there of a few days. But we need to get 2 vaccines into people. Now, if you go on like the CDC website and look at the vaccine tracker, there's a lot more vaccine actually out there than has been given. Only about 30% of the vaccine that's available to us in Florida has actually been given. So a lot of this coordination that's taking place, some of this slowness you're seeing in terms of getting people vaccinated is because we're having to coordinate getting that second dose, ready for people as well. And so that's happening. And I feel confident that people will get that second dose. Now, the only reason you wouldn't get a second dose is if you have a severe allergic reaction to the first dose, or you've been counseled by your physician or a healthcare provider not to get the second dose. But otherwise, we expect there to be some mild side effects that take place after the vaccine. Soreness in the arm, maybe it's a low-grade fever, some muscle aches, or some bony pain. So we expect some of that to happen, and you would still go ahead and get that second dose of vaccine.
All right, trying to get as many questions in as possible here in this half hour. Jessica Slack is asking, do they expect these 2 doses to be good for life, or is this going to be an annual thing? Because we expect this disease, this virus, to be with us, right? Is this going to be an annual thing that we all need to get vaccinated?
So the answer, at least from our end, is that we don't know. We don't know how long the vaccine will be good for, because that's really still in trial as to see how long it will last. And so it could very well be much like the flu vaccine, requiring to get a vaccination every year. Still, again, not enough information out there to say. And with variation, with if the virus mutates in some way or another, that this vaccine doesn't become as effective, and that hasn't been shown so far with the mutations that have occurred. But the vaccine will need to be modified to accommodate those mutations. So the answer is, short-term answer is, we don't know. We'll know as we get more vaccines and more arms how long it lasts as we have a larger and larger pool of patients to judge.
All right, got a good question here. Ashley Garris asking, should type 2 diabetics and heart disease patients get the vaccine immediately as high risk, or should they wait?
Okay, hold on a second.
Well, those patients should follow the executive order and the guidelines we have right now about vaccination. But certainly those are not contraindications to receiving vaccine. We would want those individuals to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Under the executive order right now, we're looking at people who are over the age of 65 and frontline healthcare workers to get the vaccine, unless in a vulnerable hospitalized or hospital population, there are some rules around that as well. But certainly the more medical problems problems that you have, the more we know that you are more at risk to get sicker from COVID. And that's certainly, you know, a population we'd like to get vaccinated as soon as possible.
We're getting a lot of good specific medical questions, sounds like, from people who have very unique situations, as all of us do, right, with our health. Every patient's different. Suzanne Hines is asking, family member has a history of Bell's palsy, and we are told that is one of the side effects. Should they take the vaccine? Dr. Ross?
A family history of Bell's palsy, we don't think is a contraindication to getting the vaccine at this point in time. You know, you have to be alerted to that effect. So I would recommend going ahead as long as they haven't had Bell's palsy or a reaction, really, mainly to other immunizations, flu shots, etc., as Dr. Wilson was talking to earlier.
Dr. Wilson.
And Paul, let me just say too, with the Bell's palsy issue, I want to make sure that the public is aware that while there were a few cases of Bell's palsy in the study, those number of cases were not any greater than we would expect from the general population. So right now, we don't think those are from the vaccine. So I want to make that very clear as well, that the number of cases that happened were the same number we'd expect if you took a couple thousand people, watched them for a few months, the same number of people would develop Bell's palsy.
Nitsa Santini asking, what's considered high risk? That's a pretty broad stroke, I would imagine. But what are there people that this is pretty wide ranging? I know. I'll let you guys fill in the blank there. But right now, it's 60 people who are 65 and older. But I would imagine there are a lot of people that should get vaccinated.
Well, the answer is yes. There, you know, chronic illness has been shown that you do more poorly with COVID. So that's the reason why you would want to get vaccinated as soon as that the indications are expanded for the vaccine. You know, we talked about diabetes. I think there's definitely that. There's obesity is also a risk factor. Other chronic illnesses also. That'll follow as there will be very clear indications from CDC as to what chronic illness will be and when those indications will be allowed to get vaccinated, I would say. You know?
All right. Dr. Wilson, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I would agree. I would just say that under the executive order right now, that there is a little bit of ability to make some decisions about this by your healthcare provider in a hospital setting. But otherwise, again, you know, we're looking at high-risk people being over the age of 65 and frontline healthcare workers.
What is the most important thing that all of us can do right now? Even those of us who right now are not going to be in line getting vaccinated. What's something that all of us can do to make this situation better?
Well, I'm biased and I'm a broken record on it. It's masking, it's social distancing, and it's washing your hands, not finding yourself in large crowds, you know, minimizing exposures to others who are not in your household. That's going to continue for the foreseeable future. Even people who are vaccinated have to, we don't have enough information on whether they could be silent spreaders, for example. So we need to have those people mask, everyone mask, as well as do the social distancing, hand washing, etc.
Dr. Wilson, where would you like to see us in 6 months? How do you measure success? How will you see success being measured? I mean, will you see it in the numbers coming down? Do you anticipate when that might happen?
Sure. So let me just jump on to Dr. Ross's answer too, because I completely agree with his answer and fully support that answer. The one other thing people can do right now is if you think it's going to be more than 2 weeks until you get the COVID vaccine, go get your flu vaccine right now. You know, you can really still help us by keeping a twindemic from happening. We haven't seen any flu yet really in this community, but it doesn't mean it's not going to come. And so the more you can do to help us prevent that pandemic from happening, the better. So if it's going to be more than 2 weeks until your COVID vaccine, then go get your flu vaccine today. Now, Now, to answer your other question, our hope essentially is that we start to see this vaccine scale up start to happen very quickly. Healthcare systems like Advent or Tampa General are very good at putting in new processes and new operations, but it takes a little bit of time. And so what you're going to see is once we get these operations stood up and we're working with the county and working with each other to do all of those things, once these things get stood up, they'll become hardwired, and the number of people who get vaccinated every day will really start to exponentially take off. And so you would still hope by spring or summer, we start to see that the majority of people who are eligible to be vaccinated have been vaccinated, and we can start to really actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's out there in the distance right now, but I think we drive really close to it by late spring, early summer.
Amy Leto is asking, is there a risk with the vaccine if you have a shellfish allergy?
Not that I'm aware of, but it has to be. But anyone who has had severe allergies should really talk to somebody about that before they get this vaccine. I don't know how Dr. Wilson feels about
Does that
that.
So there's one material, one ingredient in the vaccine, polysorbate, which can react with polyethylene glycol. They cross sort of react, and that's likely what causes some people to have some allergic reactions to the vaccine. Again, a very low number worldwide. I'm talking, 20 something people who've had some type of allergic reaction related to the vaccine. And given that, the CDC's recommendation again is that only if you've had a prior severe allergic reaction from that compound, PEG, or from a prior vaccine, would you be worried about having this vaccine? So you would probably just mention that to the person who's vaccinating you, that you've had some allergies before to foods and other things. But everybody's going to be watched after they get vaccinated. Everybody gets watched for at least 15 minutes, and those at higher risk get watched for 30 minutes after vaccination.
All right, we've got a question on the board. Vivian Duloc asking, I live in Mississippi. I'm 63 years old. I have cancer. I also have severe heart problems. Should I take the vaccine, and is it safe for me to take?
So again, the recommendation will be that when it's available for Ms. Duloc to get the vaccine, she should certainly get the vaccine. She's at a higher risk group given age, immunosuppression from cancer, and the comorbidity of having the heart problems. Now, every state's a little bit different right now in terms of how the vaccine rollout's going on. And so it sounds like Ms. Duloc lives in Mississippi. I'm not aware exactly as to when she's going to be eligible for vaccine, but, as soon as it's appropriate for her to get vaccine, I would definitely get in line.
Ruthie Rogers is asking, I'm allergic to penicillin and doxycycline. I hope I said that right. Should I be concerned?
As Dr. Wilson just pointed out, really, it's not a concern. If you have had a reaction to a previous immunization, that should be brought up. And there's been minimal reactions, but, so no, the answer is no.
I'll throw one in to buy us a little bit of time here. The AstraZeneca vaccine, if we could talk a little bit about the differences, how much of a game changer could that be in the sense that it seems as though it might be easier to distribute because it doesn't have to be stored in the sub-freezing temperatures, and it's a one dose shot. Could that accelerate the vaccination process in Florida?
Well, I think what you're going to see happen over the next couple of months is more and more vaccines are going to become available. So AstraZeneca is one of the other pharmaceutical companies that have created a different type of vaccine than the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine, as is Johnson & Johnson. Publicly, what I've seen kind of on the news and around is that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is getting pretty close to releasing some data, and we may actually see that vaccine become available. And that's a one-shot vaccine as well. The AstraZeneca and the Johnson & Johnson ones work a little bit differently, and so they don't require quite as much, storage issues as, say, the Pfizer vaccine. But look, to immunize the entire state, the entire country, and the world, we're going to have more than two companies making vaccine to really roll this thing out and scale it up.
All right. Teresa Wallace asking you, what if you already had COVID? Should you get the vaccine anyway? Dr. Wilson, or Dr. Ross, sorry.
Oh, yeah. So the answer is yes, you should get it. You should be at least 14 days after infection. You should get the COVID vaccine. And the reason is pretty simple. So your immune system probably has worked to eliminate COVID but it has not necessarily eliminated it or created antibodies that fight in the same way the vaccine creates, or antibodies are created from the vaccine. So you actually will benefit from the vaccine as well as having had the infection. Also, we're not sure how long immunity occurs after a COVID infection. We think it lasts at least 90 days, but we've seen in the literature publications of people getting COVID again after 90 days, at a minimum of 90 days. And so, yes, the recommendation is that you get the COVID vaccine.
Monica Bencomo is asking if a person has fibrosis of the lungs, can she take the vaccine? Dr. Ross? I'm getting my doctors mixed up. Sorry, gentlemen.
Sure. I think we both give the same answer to this one anyway. Certainly it sounds like Ms. Bencomo is at higher risk, given her pulmonary fibrosis, and we would certainly want her to get vaccinated against COVID, given that's primarily a lung reactive disease. So as soon as Ms. Bencomo is eligible, as long as she talks to her doctor about it, I don't see any contraindication, any reason why she wouldn't get vaccinated.
Let me just add, to Jason, that really everyone should get vaccinated. It's just a question of priority at this point in time, right? We want everyone, as many people as possible, because we want to drive that herd immunity. So as the vaccine becomes available to you, depending on your situation in terms of your severity of illness currently or age currently, yes, take the vaccine, please. And then as we enlarge the groups of people that can get the vaccine, yes, please get the vaccine. It's a worthwhile endeavor to fight COVID with this vaccine, or any vaccine now.
Let's talk about supply just for a little bit. You mentioned before we went on that the president went ahead and made the decision, and President-elect Joe Biden has already said that he was going to release all the doses and not hold back for the second dose. So that's the direction we're going in. How will that help get more shots in arms, pardon the phrase, and get more people vaccinated? Will that have a pretty immediate impact, or is this all going to take a while to trickle down? Dr. Ross, we'll start with you.
Well, I think I agree with Jason that we're going to see over time, Dr. Wilson, that we're going to see over time as we get better and better processes around giving immunizations, more and more people on a daily basis getting immunizations. So having the resource being the shots available as we get the ramp up to the right level of giving vaccines every day, having enough vaccine will help. I think we are still in that ramp up phase where we have more vaccine than we have in terms of our capability of giving vaccines right now. But that's going to change very quickly as we move forward. So it'll be nice to have a lot of vaccine around to be able to give to patients and people in general.
Dr. Wilson?
Yeah, I always say it's hardest to go from 0 to 1, to never have done something to do something. And then once you do that, it's still kind of short-term little incremental gains. But what we're going to see is it start to really take off over the next couple of weeks. And hopefully a month from now, we're talking, we basically just have lots of vaccine sites and lots of these populations of people we're talking about are all eligible to go get vaccinated, because we've been able to meet the priorities and demands for all those patient populations kind of simultaneously throughout this area.
Heather is asking us how do scientists know there won't be adverse effects from the vaccine years from now? I mean, this goes to, this is new for all of us. I think there's some genuine concern out there about something that had not gone through a longer process as we're accustomed to. So that's a real trust factor, right? I mean, how do you get people to take something if they have in the back of their head, is this going to affect me years from now? What's your take on that, Dr. Wilson?
Sure. So one thing with these vaccines, these are called mRNA vaccines, and these vaccines are like instruction booklets to make antibody against the COVID virus. And what's kind of cool about it is that's all it is. It's an instruction booklet, and this mRNA can't do anything else but provide instructions. And then oddly enough, you get the vaccine, in your arm into these muscle cells, and those very muscle cells are going to express this antigen that the vaccine antibodies are going to attack. So eventually they're going to go away too. And so eventually all you have is just the memory of this instruction booklet left. So there's really not like a scientific reason or a scientific way that you would have any downstream problems with this, because once you make the antibodies, the mRNA kind of goes away as those cells die out. And again, that's the question is, do we need to have another vaccine dose in a year? We don't know. But there's really no scientific way to have serious downstream effects that we can see.
And I would just add, and this sort of rounds out the question about the speed at which the vaccine was created. It was really the science around it that allowed the vaccine to be created so quickly. But really, there haven't been any corners cut around the evaluation of the vaccine by the FDA. Yes, it's an EUA. That's a little technical reasons why that is currently, but really, the I's have been dotted and T's have been crossed around this vaccine. So I'll just add to that really we haven't cut any corners there.
Let's say we're sitting here a year from now in 2022, which seems hard to believe, but where do you think we'll be a year from now with this situation? Are we still going to be fighting it, or do you think there will be markedly measurable results that we can say, okay, not only do we have a roadmap on how to deal with this, but we've got the tools to fight this year in and year out if we have to. Do you think that this is just the bridge that we've got to cross to get to that point? Dr. Ross, I'll start with you.
Yeah, well, I do agree. I think it is a bridge. I think by the end of 2021, we're going to start to see a lot of availability of vaccine, a lot of people vaccinated. I think our challenge is just what your viewers have been asking. Is it safe? Getting people to feel more confident about getting the vaccine, and driving towards a herd immunity, which really means that if someone has COVID, that the person they're dealing with or talking to in December 2021 has had the vaccine and therefore is not communicating that virus to the next person. That virus stops there. If you have a whole bunch of people immunized, even with that one person not. So where we go with herd immunity will actually decrease the circulating virus in the entire world. And by doing that, we're going to see, yes, a decrease in COVID infections. But it's going to require a lot of people to really believe that in the science. And I totally agree with Dr. Wilson's explanation about the instruction packet that's basically been installed in your arm, that we really, these are fantastic advances in healthcare. They talk about this being the moonshot, this is immunization, the mRNA immunization being a moonshot equivalent for vaccination, and particularly for COVID. So, I'm going to be optimistic that more and more people will become more comfortable with taking the vaccine, get the vaccine, and then we can get the our society back to some semblance of normalcy.
Dr. Wilson?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think we'll be sitting here, a year from now talking about what worked, maybe what didn't work so great, figuring out which treatments are really effective, which ones seem to help, and, really having an arsenal of tools to manage not only COVID, but also other viral pandemics that might emerge in the future in a much better way, because we'll have gone through it once and we'll be prepared to do it better next time. But, hopefully whether it's 70%, 80%, whatever the right number is, we reach a vaccination and herd immunity, we're there, and we're having a celebratory conversation about getting through this dark time.
All right. As you're watching this, guys, we're going to wrap this up soon. I just want to make sure we get as many questions in as possible. And I'm trying to go back through in my little column here all the questions that we didn't get to yet. So as I'm sort of stretching, as they say in the TV business, feel free to add your questions in so we can get them answered. One question, and I know that we've talked in broad terms about different conditions and kind of easing people's concerns about should they get vaccinated. But Ruthie Rogers is asking, can COVID cause early Alzheimer's? For those of us who perhaps watch the situation play in days in and day out, and for those of you in the medical field, there are a lot of, there are a lot of things out there that people circulate that they're concerned about. This being one of them. We tried to bust some of the myths yesterday on our news show about all kinds of things, from the vaccine putting the chip in your arm to causing all kind of conditions. So does that fall into that category? Is there any concern that a vaccine could cause any kind of condition like that? Dr. Ross?
I'm not aware of the vaccine causing Alzheimer's, or this vaccine. As Dr. Wilson points out, this is really very innovative. This is a very innovative vaccine, really giving sort of instructions to the body on how to create antigens that will create then antibodies. So I don't see that as plausible causing, Alzheimer's necessarily. Again, we don't know the long-term effects, but we're very comfortable with what we know, that this is a safe vaccine and the side effects are minimal.
All right,
Paul, I'll just jump in and just add to that. My concern would actually be much more about the effects of COVID. We have had some patients who've had what we call neuropsychiatric effects. That means that we think COVID occasionally does affect the brain. There was actually an emergency medicine doctor in New York who ended up with depression and unfortunately committed suicide after having COVID. And so we think there may be some effects sometimes on the brain after COVID infection. So I worry much more about the effects of COVID than any effects of the vaccine.
All right, as we get to the finish line here, I do want to address this question because I think it's important. People are asking about why are vaccines, Heather's asking, why are vaccines not safe for those under 18? So the question of when and how would children be vaccinated? I'll throw that to Dr. Ross, and then Dr. Wilson, please weigh in as well.
Well, my answer is that really right now the studies haven't been done. They're starting to do the studies on children now. That the focus was trying to get the adult population. It's an easier sort of evaluation process. And so they're just starting to do the children's ability to get vaccinated with the COVID vaccine. I expect that we're going to see similar results to the adults, that this is a safe vaccine for children as well. Certainly for populations greater than 16, I believe it's very safe right now to give, but I understand the indications above 18.
Yeah, all clinical trials usually start by including, adults. And so they leave out kids and they leave out pregnant women. Kids and pregnant women are a little bit different, though, because kids weigh a lot less. So sometimes we have to, and their physiology, the way their bodies work is still a little bit different. So we have to study them separately. And like Dr. Ross alluded to, those trials are starting up now. Pregnant women are interesting, though, because they weren't included in the trial, but we can't think of any reason why this would harm them, and actually may confer some favor, some antibody production that even helps the baby. So pregnant women, are encouraged by the American College of Gynecology to talk to their obstetrician about even getting the vaccine as well.
All right. Thank you for asking your questions, everyone. Dr. Ross, Chief Medical Officer of Advent Health Tampa, and Dr. Jason Wilson from Tampa General Hospital, appreciate your time today. This is a work in progress, I know, and but it's important to interact with people directly because people have different situations. As you guys know, I'm preaching to the choir here, but every patient has their own life, their own unique situation, their own questions, their own concerns. But as you kind of put it on the record out there, everyone should get vaccinated, and in due time, this will be expanded out and everyone will have the opportunity. So day by day and month by month, we're getting there. I'll give you guys the final word because I don't want to wrap it up without perhaps you have something to cover that I didn't get to. Dr. Ross?
Again, to go back to my broken record, we're not out of the woods yet. Masking, social distancing, washing hands. We've seen pictures of a lot of socializing without masks in the press, etc. We are not. This pandemic is not over with yet, and we need to maintain our our energy at focusing and protecting both ourselves and others against the spread of the COVID vaccine. And we can do that with masking, hand washing, social distancing, not congregating in large groups.
Dr. Wilson?
Yeah, this is an opportune time for the public to help us out in the hospitals. You know, it's we're seeing a lot of COVID right now, and what a tragedy it would be for somebody to catch COVID right now and to become very sick when we're so close to the light at the end of this tunnel. And so now is really a time to really double down on the mask and social distancing, hand washing, staying out of crowded indoor spaces. Now it's time to double down, especially as we see this new variant that might be more infectious moving its way around our population. So the public can really help us help you.
And the vaccine is good against the variants, right?
As far as we know, yes, the vaccine looks to be very, very good against the variants as well.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you for your time today. Viewers, thank you for your questions. And we'll keep doing this as we move along here down the road in 2021, hopefully a better year, because at least we have the vaccine. Protect yourself and protect others. That's how it's going to work, all right? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.